People in their 40s, 50s, and 60s reveal what they love about Gen Z in another long-winded title by Bored Panda. I have 3 words for you guys. Edit, edit, edit.
You let us know in the comments below what you think, and don't forget to hit that old like and subscribe button.
Number 4, they are nicer than we were growing up. I remember watching a kid happily dancing around a playground in a Harry Potter robe and a wand, casting spells, and I realized that if he'd been doing that in the places I grew up, he would have been beaten up. Everyone else would have agreed that the kid was asking for it. Jocks beating up on nerds was seen as the natural order of things. There was a tacit understanding that some people had the right to attack others physically. Kids are smarter, more empathetic, and less judgmental these days, and I love them for it.
Well, I agree and disagree. On some of it, we'll get to a little bit more later about this more empathetic and less judgmental thing, because I spend a lot of time with these youngsters because of my profession, and a lot of that is just performative. But anyway, I was that kid. I was that chubby little kid doing my magic spells out on the playground. And sometimes I did get whopped in the head for it. And maybe I needed a good whopping in the head down again to get my head out of the clouds and get some work done. That's all I'm saying.
Wow, that's the Gen Xer way for sure. Maybe I needed a good old butt whooping.
No, I do think it's good overall, but yeah, I mean, sometimes you get smacked upside the head.
Because your head is in the clouds, and you need it down on earth.
Like my dear old dad used to say, Dan, you have a head made for smacking.
I would agree.
Number 5, treating consent like a normal component of dating. As important to learn as how to pay for dinner, how to dance, how to dress. Hey, I would agree it's more important to know those things. Although I think back in the day, here's my theory, that men did take consent and no means no very seriously. At least all my friends did and everyone. But then on the other hand, that was for physical things. But when it comes for, hey, can I win her over? Can I romance her? All of our movies was telling us, don't give up, bud. From Pretty in Pink to Some Kind of Wonderful, it was all about stalking that woman until she fell in love with you and you lived happily ever after. Holding your radio up.
Holding the radio up
Now,
outside the window.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but used to men and women thought that romantic. Or maybe I was just being lied to and I was a naive 15, 14-year-old.
No, I think that would have been considered romantic. I mean, I hope that was the slant of those movies. They weren't,
But I mean,
thrillers.
They were stalking those women. Let's face it.
They were, yeah. I would say there were a lot of portrayals of near stalking to actual stalking behavior. Yes.
That's what we used to call love back in the 80s.
It was so sweet.
Stalk until she loves you.
Number 9, they're so open about mental health and feelings, which I admire the hell out of. I would say yes to this, but almost where it becomes flippant in a way. I hear about mental illnesses and mental health throughout my day, where I work.
From me.
I hear about it. I hear about it when we, just in the news all the time. It's in the media all the time. It's in TV. It's in movies. It's definitely something that we pay attention to now, but almost something that we are overly focused on. We are almost hyper-focused on it right now. We need to kind of back off of it just to give it the relevance that it deserves, I feel.
If you're stressing out over your mental health hygiene, it's defeating the purpose, right? Like if you're analyzing every aspect of your day to see if it's fitting the perfect life that you're supposed to have or whatnot. I don't know. I'm happy when people speak out and are serious about it. Again, I think that sometimes this is performative. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people faking mental illnesses on the TikToks over there, those youngsters, for views and some cultural cachet or whatever. That's just the world we live in. It's not blaming a certain generation or anything like that. There's just a lot of performative stuff out there, but it muddies the waters because you see these people overacting these symptoms and over emphasizing things, and it just probably confuses a lot of people who might really be looking for information, you know.
Okay, so this one was number 10, and it lists a few things here. Way less religious, open-minded, less judgmental, less money-driven, more experience-driven. A surprising amount of them are into rock and metal. Very creative, less drug abuse, less violent, more into science, more aware of bullshit is what I think they're trying to spell out there. And this source says that they've been teaching middle school for 9 years.
What do you think of this list?
I would say I have seen a few of these things, I guess, firsthand. I would say definitely more experience driven, less money driven. There's there's a resurgence of thrift stores and things like that, of reuse, reduce, recycle. I don't know about less violent. I don't know about more into science. I don't know about less drug abuse, but it seems like they're using drugs and alcohol less. Just from what I see in the news, a surprising amount of them are into rock and metal. That is true. I do work with a lot of younger people at my workplace, and they have a lot of like Def Leppard and Metallica and Pantera shirts on. And when I first started seeing those shirts, I would ask them about these bands, thinking, surely they won't know these people. They just got these shirts from Walmart or whatever. But no, they would rattle off a number of songs by them. And I would be like, oh, okay, yes, you do know Metallica.
And I say this list isn't of itself judgmental. Starting out with number 1, way less religious. Why is that necessarily a good thing? Judgmental, right there. That gets me to this whole thing about this idea that this younger generation, Gen Z or whatever, is so open-minded. They're not. If you don't agree 100% with their political everything, you're going to get canceled, you're going to get hate, death threats, you name it, man. Performative. I would say Gen X is more open-minded because we used to be able to talk to people on different political spectrums and still go out and have a beer afterwards.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
A lot of the times, what would happen is that stuff, we wouldn't even bring that stuff up, really. We would talk about other things, like life happening around us, not politics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's old Dad's do sets.
Okay. So this is number 16. I feel like fewer of them are smoking. I would have to say I can clearly see this happening. And they have made being embarrassed of mental disorders pretty non-existent. And again, we see this, and I would agree with that sentiment as well.
I would agree with both. Very good on the smoking, man. All my friends and me smoked when I grew up. My parents smoked. I quit some years back. Best decision I ever made in my life, since probably one of the worst ones was starting to smoke in the first place. As far as the second part, we already talked about that a little bit. Now they've made it more embarrassing not to have a mental disorder, though. It swung too far.
They're overcorrecting. We're overcorrecting right now. Okay. And of course, number 46, basically everything. Yes, this is a new generation. They are wildly different. And their music sucks, though.
I don't know it.
I don't know any of their music either. I'm not going to say that I agree with this because I don't know your music, you young folks, you.
My God, my parents hated Run DMC, man, when I brought home Raising Hell. Every generation thinks the younger generation's music sucks, man. It might not be for them, but that don't mean it sucks.
Yeah. It's often on the cutting edge. That's why, that's why us old folks are like, oh, what is that? What is that rock and roll going on over there?
I will say, if there is one thing that I find a little bit alarming about a lot of newer music, but this has been going on since early 2000s. This is not new. Everything is about materialism, it just seems like. It's all about money, party, and dancing, this and that. There's hardly anything about real human emotions out there.
It's that, or it's just absolutely lewdly disgusting. Like I enjoy a double entendre just as much as the next fella, but we get some down and dirty stuff, and that's not cool.
Man, I remember listening to those old ghetto boys back when I was about 20. Don't do it, youngsters.
That's right. Well, those are the things you listen to with your doors shut.
That's right.
Your
And
windows rolled up.
Just keep your shades down. Make sure no your parents don't hear it.
Okay, we're gonna go listen to some lewd music.
Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, suckers.
All right, bye.
Hey.
Bye.
Just call me the Gangster of Love.